When Brighton sold Moisés Caicedo for a British record fee, most people assumed the hole in midfield would swallow them. But months later, a different name started whispering through scouting rooms and group chats at big clubs, Manchester United included. You probably haven't seen him splashed across your timeline, no choreographed interviews, no viral skills compilations on loop, just a 21-year-old from Douala, Cameroon, taking heavy minutes in the world's fastest league and making them look lighter every week. This isn't about a deadline, it's about recognition. Players with this blend of control, bite, and bravery on the half-turn don't stay hidden for long. Analysts notice, coaches lean in, lists get updated. This is the rise of Carlos Baleba, how a quiet kid with a grinder's mentality became a problem for Premier League midfields, and a priority on Old Trafford watch lists. Before the bright lights and recruitment whispers, Carlos Baleba was just a boy in Douala, Cameroon's hectic coastal capital, humid air, dust-bitten pitches, and games that ran until the sun gave up. Talent is common there, opportunity isn't. Born in 2004, he learned the game the hard way: barefoot knocks, heavy touches, and hours spent correcting them. There were no tailored nutrition plans, no individual analysts, just repetition and a refusal to accept his limits. A decisive step came with the École de Football de Brasserie du Cameroun, a rare island of structure in a chaotic ecosystem. Even there, he wasn't the golden child, raw, quiet, the kind of kid coaches like but don't rush, the kind teammates respect because he never cheats the work. What he had was appetite. He stayed after sessions, first touch, body shape, opening out of pressure, again and again until the movements felt automatic. If the path wouldn't open for him, he'd carve one with persistence. Ask around and you hear the same story. He listened, he learned, and he showed up early the next day. No shortcuts, no drama, just a teenager building habits that later look like talent when the lights finally arrive. Cameroon produces rough diamonds. The stories are romantic from afar, Roger Milla, Samuel Eto'o, but the reality on the ground is unforgiving. Corruption, poor facilities, and thin scouting networks mean countless prospects slip through the cracks. Baleba could have been one of them. At Brasserie, he had better conditions than most, but the odds were still long. Scouts visited occasionally, usually to check on someone else. That's how the chance came: a Lille contact in the region, an open mind, and a teenager who refused to play safe. He wasn't chasing stepovers, he was obsessed with the boring things that win midfields: angles, tempo, body orientation, tackling cleanly without surrendering position. The more he watched top midfielders, the clearer his identity became. Less noise, more control. And if you're still with me, you can probably see it too. There's a reason big clubs are looking twice at a name you barely hear in headlines. These are the quiet rises you only catch if you're paying attention. If you like finding these stories early, make sure you're subscribed, because this one's just warming up. Lille signed him in January 2022. No fanfare, no grand unveiling. He started where most imports should: the reserves in Championnat National 3, learning the rhythm of European football without the noise. The jump came fast. By the 2022-23 season, he was with the first team, taking Ligue 1 minutes against players with a decade more experience and refusing to look overwhelmed. Coaches noticed the details: the half-turn receptions, the way he protected space, the calm resets when games frayed. There were mistakes, late fouls, rushed passes, but the curve was unmistakable. Each appearance felt like a lesson absorbed, not a warning ignored. He didn't win attention with YouTube moments, he earned trust with repetition, anticipation over chaos, timing over show. In a league that forges midfielders, this teenager felt different, built different. Brighton moved in the summer of 2023, paying a fee in the mid-20s of millions to bring him from Lille. To outsiders, it looked like a gamble. To Brighton, it looked familiar. They weren't buying a headline, they were buying traits. Replacing Caicedo on a team sheet is the easy part, Replacing his influence is the puzzle. Early on, Baleba looked raw by comparison. Fewer perfect decisions, more learning moments, the occasional heavy touch, but the foundations were there. He could shield the ball under contact, he wanted it in tight spaces, he carried through pressure instead of around it, he pressed on cues, not vibes. The touch map crept forward month by month, the passes grew braver as the trust grew. In flashes, you got the question that lives in some minds. Is there a version of this player that outgrows the comparison? Could the carry become a line breaker, the duel a momentum shift, the calm a platform for others? By spring, Brighton fans didn't see another Caicedo, they saw a different profile taking shape, more vertical with carries, a little heavier in duels, still sanding edges but clearly worth the patience. Not a copy, an evolution. At Brighton, Carlos Baleba isn't just another midfielder. He's a long-term project, someone they believe could anchor their midfield for years, or command a serious fee if Europe's biggest clubs came calling. Reports suggest Brighton would want over £100 million to even consider parting ways. That number isn't plucked from thin air. It's the same model that saw them turn Moisés Caicedo into a British record sale. What do United analysts see? Dual resistance without losing shape, a willingness to show for the ball in ugly phases, carries that break a line when the pass isn't on, a habit of resetting tempo when games get messy, defensive scanning that prevents fires before they start, feet tidy enough for tight triangles, legs strong enough to drive when the pass isn't there. United monitoring doesn't guarantee a bid today, and it doesn't have to. The point is recognition. When a 21-year-old handles Premier League traffic with this much composure, big clubs schedule meetings. Whether he spends another season learning in Sussex or jumps sooner, the attention is earned. That's why the notebooks fill up. Not hype, evidence. Now isn't about a deadline, it's about timing your belief before everyone else does. Carlos Baleba was never supposed to be here. He wasn't a golden boy. He didn't come through Clairefontaine or La Masia. He didn't have agents calling clubs when he was 14. He didn't trend on TikTok. He came from the heat and chaos of Douala. He grew up in a system that discards players as quickly as it discovers them. He crossed continents, adapted to cultures, learned new languages, all before he turned 20. Most fans still don't know his name, but the right people do. Coaches, scouts, directors, they see what's coming. Because Baleba isn't just a defensive midfielder, he's a modern hybrid. He presses like a forward, tracks like a fullback, shields like a veteran, and recycles possession like a metronome. And yet, we've only scratched the surface. He's not fully polished, not yet, but you get the feeling. When it all clicks, it's going to happen fast, and it won't be quiet. Maybe he stays at Brighton, maybe he moves, maybe it's Manchester United, or someone else entirely. But wherever he ends up, he'll be heard, not through words, through performances. If you've made it this far, thanks for watching. These are the stories we love telling, about players most people overlook until it's too late. So, if you want to stay ahead of the game, hit subscribe, because this is just the beginning.